What is up, TEW fans? Jolly J here, bringing you episode number 1 of Freedom Caribbean Wrestling, or Caribbean Wrestling, or however you want to say it. This is Freedom Fighters, our annual January event, of course, our 2016 edition. And all we really know about this show is that, one, we are in the Gymnasium Aguada, kind of our home in the Puerto Rican region. And we're expecting at just over 1,000 to show, which should be a sellout. We also know, as was advertised via social media and on the website, that Puerto Rican Power has a huge announcement, a couple of huge announcements to give the fans of FCW. So that's all we know about it, though. He's advertised to start the show. And we also know that Hell's Bouncer, the Colossus of FCW, is going to defend his championship against a mystery opponent. Nobody knows who Hell's Bouncer will face. So without further ado, let's jump into the show. And I think what I'm going to do... Oh, I got to block out these notable personalities. Oh my gosh, that's my dog. These notable personalities, because that kind of ruins some stuff. But what I'm going to do is just cut until the show starts, because when I hit run show, sometimes it takes a second to load the actual show. And I don't want to spoil anything, so I will probably just do that. So here we are in the Gymnasium Aguada in front of 1,000 people. Puerto Rican Power's music hits, and the crowd just loses its shit, just goes off the handle, because they love some power. So he makes his way down to the ring, and after the crowd calms down, he thanks them for coming out to the show. And, of course, anytime Power talks, it just throws them into a frenzy. So they lose it again, and once again he waits for him to calm down. And he says, I have a couple of big announcements to make tonight. First off, we have finalized our deal to become a member of the Confederation of the Territories. So we will see talent from territories across the USA, as well as Canada and Mexico, here in FCW. We will have the Confederation of the Territories Championships defended on our shows as well. And the crowd, of course, starts marking out, because that's just a huge announcement for them. And then once they quiet down, Puerto Rican Power starts again. But now some more serious news. Freedom Caribbean Wrestling has entered a new era, an era where the stars of old don't really have a place anymore. And you are looking at the biggest star of old. I have faced the best, and I have beaten the best that the world has to offer. However, last year, Hell's Bouncer took me down and showed me that I am no longer the biggest or the strongest that this company has to offer. And so this new era needs to be led by these younger stars who can carry this company to where it needs to be. So I'm going to step away from active competition, and I'm going to be what this company needs me to be, what I need to be to make this company take the next step in its development. And so I'm going to be the owner and general manager of Freedom Caribbean Wrestling. Now, to the young stars in the back, don't think that means that you just get an easy title shot now. Don't think it means you can just do whatever you want. The road to the championship still goes through me, because I am now the judge, the jury, and the executioner of Freedom Caribbean Wrestling. And Puerto Rican Power just puts the mic down, walks out, as the crowd is just kind of stunned. They don't really know what just happened. Did he just retire? Is he face? Is he heel? Do we still cheer for him? What do we do? Nobody really knows. But apparently Puerto Rican Power is stepping away from being an active competitor on the roster and has taken over the the duties of general manager as well as owner of the company. So a 91 rating, though, that is the power of Puerto Rican power. Just can get outstanding overness ratings. So we move on to our next segment. With Hell's Bouncer, we start, I think it's about an 8-minute or something like that, 6-minute promo. But it's a couple of minutes of a video recapping his dominance and showing his win over Power and showing his defenses from last year and just how dominant he has been. And then it goes to the back in the interview area, and he's with, I think her name's Miriam Vega or something. He's with her, and she asks him how he feels about facing an unknown opponent tonight. That would be my dog. Sorry about that. About facing an unknown opponent tonight. And Hell's Bouncer just kind of glares at her and says, "It doesn't matter who I face. I'm the most dominant beast that this company has ever seen. I am Hell's Bouncer. I am the Colossus of FCW. Everyone will fall before me. It doesn't matter who I face. It doesn't matter that I can't prepare for them, because you know what? Nobody can prepare for me." And after that short and sweet promo, he just walks off. So you can see 82 rating for him. He's rated on Menace, of course. And yeah, damn good rating here in FCW. So, still don't know who that mystery opponent is, and but that will be later tonight. Let's go to the next segment. And in a poor match, Davis Wayne Newton defeats Curtis Shaw in 5:57 by pinfall with a fisherman suplex. 32 rating, but you can see Davis Wayne Newton's performance was higher than that rating. Curtis Shaw's was pretty poor, as expected. So this is a pretty one-sided match, less than 6 minutes. Davis Wayne Newton basically, Curtis Shaw doesn't really get any offense in. Davis Wayne Newton pretty much dominates and taunts him through the match and finishes off with a fisherman's suplex. Not much else to say about it. And so after the match, we have Davis Wayne Newton saying that he is the future of the company. He is what Power was talking about. The stars, the future stars that need to lead this company to the next level. That is Davis Wayne Newton. And everybody needs to realize that Davis Wayne Newton is the future of Freedom Caribbean Wrestling. And there's nothing anybody can do about it. But then out comes Princeton Price, the debuting Princeton Price. And he basically interrupts Davis Wayne Newton and says, "You know, Davis Wayne Newton, when I signed with FCW, I got a lot of feedback from people saying how I was going to take over the company and how I'm going to lead the company to the next step. But you know what? That's all talk. It doesn't matter what other people say or what they think. What matters is how hard I work. I'm not going to get anywhere in this company unless I put the work in. Same as you, but you don't seem to realize that." So Davis Wayne Newton, either of us could be the future of this company, but it's about who wants it more and who is willing to do whatever it takes to get to the top. And Davis Wayne Newton just about interrupts him and says, "Who the hell are you?" And Princeton Price looks back at him and just says, "You'll learn soon enough." And he just walks away. So Davis Wayne Newton and Princeton Price start a little rivalry here. 29 rating, not very good, but you know, they're both actually lower mid-carders, and so that's not really surprising. They're not very over, and neither of them have great entertainment skills either, but their entertainment skills are higher than their overness, so that's what they're rated on. And as we continue, we have Rudy Velasquez taking on Bull Recker. So in 8 minutes, it starts out kind of as a dominant performance by Bull Recker, but only for maybe a minute or minute and a half or so, where he just keeps knocking him down. And But Rudy finally takes over and dominates the match for a solid 5 minutes and wins with a street cutter and a 46 rating. Look at that performance from Rudy, 47. And Bull Recker with a ring performance of 36. A little disappointing from him, but not surprising at all. So Rudy Velasquez picks up a big win over a big heavyweight, and just showing he can hang with the big men as well. Get him some momentum. And up next, we have the 937-pound Express taking on the Puerto Rican boys for the FCW Tag Team Championship. And in a decent match, the Puerto Rican boys defeated the Express in 12:01 when Island Boy Apollo defeated King Kong Kennedy by pinfall with a welcome to the island. And that's defense number 5 of their tag team titles. A pretty good rating, 42 rating overall. So this match I see going as the 937-pound Express dominate for like 95% of the match. And then they dominate Kid San Juan for that amount of time. And then he gets the hot tag to Island Boy Apollo, who comes in, lights up the ring, lights it on fire basically, and hits. And they hit they hit King Kong Kennedy. Geez, I lost my train of thought. With a welcome to the island, and then get the pin. And Ox Macedon, I think that's his name. Yeah, Ox Macedon. He's just too slow. He can't break up the pin, and that is a successful title defense for the Puerto Rican boys. And then we have an angle with Power and the Puerto Rican boys. And in this angle, they are celebrating their title defense when Power comes out, again, to a lot of cheering. Power comes out and tells them, congratulations on your title defense. However, I felt the tag team division here in FCW is getting pretty poor. So I'm scouring the territories, and I'm bringing in some tag teams from across the territories to challenge you two for those FCW Tag Team Championships. I want those championships to get the competition that they deserve. And so next month, there will be a match between 2 of these teams where the winner will get to challenge the Puerto Rican boys for those Tag Team Championships. And in the ring, the Puerto Rican boys they actually look excited. You know, their faces, they want competition, they want to be the best, and they want to earn being the best. So they're excited about the new level of competition. They're getting pumped up at each other, and that's the end of that segment. 92 rating, but that's just because of the power. And up next, we have Hell's Bouncer with his menacing entrance, getting a 74 rating. It's like 2 minutes long, so not a bad rating for such a short angle. But menacing entrance, you know, he just kind of walks out and rips signs, glares at children, that kind of thing, and finally gets in the ring. And it's time to find out who Hell's Bouncer will defend his championship against. Who's going to come in and try to take on the Colossus of FCW? And it is Greg Gage. In a decent match, Hell's Bouncer defeated Greg Gage, though, in 16-16 by pinfall with a Damnation drop. And he makes defense number 4 of his title. I think of the Damnation drop as like a Dominator type move. I think that seems to fit with his skill set. But this match, I see starting out as Hell's Bouncer and Greg Gage are just kind of locking up, and Hell's Bouncer is just showing his power by knocking him down and pushing him off, whatever. And then Greg Gage says to himself, hey, I can't match his power. That's obvious. Maybe I can be faster than him. And so he goes for a lockup again and ends up going behind Hell's Bouncer and getting a rear waist lock. But he can't do anything with it. He can't move Hell's Bouncer. He can't pick him up. He can't even budge him. And Hell's Bouncer ends up just breaking the waist lock and tossing Greg Gage again. So Greg Gage realizes not even his speed is going to be enough to beat Hell's Bouncer. So he gets up. He gets in Hell's Bouncer's face and just slaps the shit out of him. And you can see the immediate fury on Hell's Bouncer's face as Greg Gage quickly ducks out of the ring to the floor, and Hell's Bouncer gives chase. And then Greg Gage slides back in the ring. Of course, Hell's Bouncer still chasing him, and he eats a kick right to the face from Gage. And of course, that puts him and keeps him on the mat for a little bit. And using his submissions for several minutes at least, Greg Gage keeps him grounded with a variety of submissions. Almost gets a tap out. He even locks in the proton lock, and he just still can't get Hell's Bouncer to tap out. And after several minutes, I mean, we're probably about halfway through the match at this point, he gets a rear naked choke, thinking he can just choke out Hell's Bouncer. But it's a big mistake. Hell's Bouncer goes from laying down with Gage on him to standing up, still with Gage on him, and just rams him into the corner. And of course, that breaks the rear naked choke. And so at that point, Greg Gage is stunned, and Hell's Bouncer is trying to recover as well. But Hell's Bouncer goes back in and starts pummeling Gage in the corner, and Gage is just trying to cover up, and it's not doing too much. But he just pummels him down to where he's sitting in the corner, and then just hits a running knee to further emphasize how much pain Gage is about to be in. And so after that, he picks Gage up, and Gage actually breaks his hold, breaks Hell's Bouncer's hold over him, and then just starts punching him, just starts trying to punch him as hard as he can. And after all the submissions, you know, Hell's Bouncer's a little worn down. He's a little weaker than he used to be, so he's actually showing effects from these punches. And Gage punches him until he's leaning against the ropes, back first. And Gage goes for a clothesline to try to top him over, and it doesn't work. He goes for another one, and he still can't get Hell's Bouncer over. He goes for a third one, except he baseball slides to the floor and just pulls Hell's Bouncer's feet out from under him, causing him to face plant. And that gave the crowd a good pop there, as they were excited to see Hell's Bouncer face plant. And Greg Gage is pretty proud of himself. So he gets back in the ring. He tries to get Hell's Bouncer to tap out again, and he just cannot do it. Hell's Bouncer is too strong. He's just too hard to make tap out. And so Hell's Bouncer finally makes his way back to his feet during a submission again, breaks the submission, and he hits a series of suplexes and slams on Gage, getting him reeling. He picks him up again, but Gage again breaks Hell's Bouncer's hold over him and hits a standing drop kick to the head, as close to the head as he can get anyway, and stuns him. And he does it again, stunning him. And then he goes up to the top, trying to go for a death blow of a missile drop kick to the head. But Hell's Bouncer catches him. Boom. Damnation drop. 1, 2, 3. Hell's Bouncer makes defense number 4 of his FCW Puerto Rican title. So a very good performance from Gage. 50 performance. He showed that Hell's Bouncer does have a flaw in his game. He may be too strong to overpower. You may not even be able to use your speed to beat him because it's just not enough. But he can be outsmarted, and Greg Gage just showed that. So after the match, Hell's Bouncer grabs the mic and says, "You do not come into my ring and disrespect me like that." And after that short and sweet statement, he gets back in the ring, hits another damnation drop on Greg Gage, and he's going for another one when Rudy Velasquez comes out of nowhere. Well, comes out of the back, down the ramp. I mean, that's pretty obvious. But just suddenly comes down the ramp, sprints down there. Hell's Bouncer doesn't even see him until he's almost in the ring. And so he drops Gage before performing the damnation drop, reaches for Rudy Velasquez, but little does Hell's Bouncer know Velasquez has a friend with him, a lead pipe that he was kind of hiding. Hell's Bouncer didn't see it, and he gets Rudy Velasquez nails him right in the ribs with that lead pipe as he's reaching for Rudy. And that makes Hell's Bouncer immediately fall to the ground and roll out of the ring and basically retreat to the back. And Rudy just kind of, he doesn't really check on Gage. Rudy is not, he's a gangster gimmick, so he don't really care about Greg Gage. He just wants the championship, and he wants to hurt Hell's Bouncer as well. But that's the end of the show. And as we end the show here, 52 rating, not too bad. All of the segments with Hell's Bouncer, he was rated on Menace, which is why they were so high. But the show appeared much worse because of the production values. Of course, RIPW is trying to ruin the independent wrestling scene. But it did increase our popularity in one region. So, that is the end of Freedom Fighters. A pretty successful show, I would say. And we have some questions to answer and some matches already announced for the next show in February. So that's going to be it for this episode. If you enjoyed it, please leave a like or a comment, just something, some feedback is great. I appreciate any support you guys are willing to show on this series. And we'll be back for the February event that I'm not sure what it's called right now. All right. Thanks for watching, guys.